Good evening. Sorry I'm a minute or two late here. Beautiful evening. Everybody okay? Sorry, I had too many wires wrapped around my hands here and I dropped the iPad. Just hang on a second while I plug myself back in. iPad seems to be perfect condition, even though it landed on the screen. All right, we'll try that again. Hi Kim. Thanks for being here, Wolf. Alyssa, good evening. Okay, I think we're back. I don't know if you've heard anything I said anyway. I just welcomed Kim and Wolf, Alyssa, Ginger, thanks so much. I know Chloe and JB are here. Thanks so much for joining us. Looks a little quiet at the sheet tonight, so this could be a short broadcast. There are lots of midges tonight, not a big hatch like we had a few nights ago, but still a few hundred on the sheet here. Let's move in and see if there's anything here at all to look at. The trouble when you have a lot of midges like this is that they prevent the moths from landing. Or if the moths do land, they get irritated by these midges pretty quickly and leave. Anyway, we'll make do. I need to turn on my light here. Hopefully that's working. There we go. Light. Here's a Nicrophorus beetle. This one doesn't have orange markings like we see on others. This one should have some just very pale markings near the end of the wings, end of the elytra. Kind of hard to see them. One of the few moths that are enduring all these midges, or whatever they are. I'm not even sure that they're midges, but I think they are. There you see a male with the feathery antenna. Presume the others are females, but I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a common Gluphisia that we see every night in numbers. Oh, who's this? Nice looking moth up here. That's a moth in the genus Syngrapha. And I think we've seen this one before. I don't know the species. It'd be some kind of a looper. Usually, well, all the Syngraphas are considered looper moths. big moth on my neck here. Down here we have the brother, a nightly visitor, sometimes in numbers, brother moth. Here is some kind of an angle moth. This looks like a pale marked angle moth. I see a fish fly just came in over here. Great big fish fly. Here's a flame-shouldered dart. Another frequent flyer here. Seems like there are more moths over here on the shingles. Here's it's called a clover hayworm moth, this purple and yellow one. Clover hayworm. This one's a little overexposed because the shingles all around it are so dark. The camera's making the moth a bit paler than it really is. They're actually quite a dark purple. I don't know if we've seen the clover hayworm before or not. It seems to me we have. This is a micro moth. I keep saying I'm going to look it up, but I haven't. It's a yellow-shouldered, something like the yellow-shouldered leaf roller, maybe. Alyssa, that one didn't look familiar to you? Maybe we just did one that popped in for a second and left right away. Here it is again. Clover hayworm. A little better light here. There was a big longhorn beetle here a second ago. I guess it just flew. Our friend the Virginia tenucid moth. I still haven't looked up to see if the females have the feathery antenna in this species or just the males. This one's called dimorphic pseudocroa, and we have seen this one before. Dimorphic is D-I-M-O-R-P-H-I-C, dimorphic. Pseudocroa is S-I-T-O-C-H-R-O-A, pseudocroa. There's a click beetle. You can see at the back of the thorax, which you might think of as the head, the big part in the front third of the insect. Then the back corners are they're kind of sharply pointed, and that's a really good field mark for click beetles. There are lots of species. Kind of difficult to identify the species. You can sort of make out the point on the right-hand side there, especially. Oh, I got a big moth in my ear. Got him. Ooh, who's this one? Some kind of a tiger moth here. I think this is the Virginia or Virginian, I can't remember which it is, tiger moth. Got some nice markings on the top side of the abdomen. Nice black markings, a couple of spots on the hind wings. I think it's called Virginian tiger moth. There's a big fish fly. And I think we've seen this one before, but no, we didn't get a good look at the hind wings or the abdomen. It really is a beautiful, beautiful moth. If I'm not mistaken, the underside of the abdomen is orange. On this species, I don't think there's any way we're going to get a look at it, unless I can somehow get it onto my finger. I don't think he's interested. Want to crawl on my finger? Want to show us the underside of your abdomen? No? Oh, that's okay. I'll check the shingles over here. Insect in my mouth. It's a Zestia C. nigrum, and we see every night. It's a white-banded tooth carpet, another common visitor. White-banded tooth carpet. That's one I think I was telling you a couple of nights ago that feeds on bedstraw. That's the name. Our yard is full of bedstraw. Excuse me. Another white-banded tooth carpet in there. Here's a clear wing moth. You'd never guess that was a moth, but they are. They don't have a lot of scales on their excuse me, on their wings. So their wings are translucent. Oh, it's gone. And they have that little feathery orange tip to their abdomen. White banded tooth carpet again. Somebody in here. Oh, this is our friend, the banded tussock moth. It's kind of hiding in back of the moth sheet tonight, getting away from all the midges. Virginian tiger moth again. Virginia tenuchid moth. Here's a tufted bird dropping moth. Sorry, it's kind of, the camera is overexposing it. I might have my card with me. This might help. It makes the moth a little bit darker so we can see some of the details in the pattern. Brother moth. Another brother. Here's our little clear wing moth that we saw a moment ago. Didn't stay long. Soldier beetle. I don't know if there are any leaf hoppers here. I see, there's one right there. No? Not a leaf hopper. It's a piece of dirt. There's our black dotted glyph with the green patch in the middle of the back. Black dots in the wings. That's a pale glyph that just flew off. This is a pug moth. goes. Everything's a bit nervous tonight. I think I think because of excuse me, all the midges. It's a micro moth there that I think we've seen before, but I don't recall the name. That was a different species there that just flew off. And another different one here. This looks like it could be a gray leaf roller. That one's gone. It's a streaked orange. I don't know if it's going to stay. Here it is. Streaked orange moth. Hi, Ravel. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us again. Yeah, that streaked orange is a beauty. Sorry it didn't stay around longer. We have seen it before a couple of times. Everything I point at seems to want to fly away tonight. Here's grass veneer. Not sure which species of grass veneer this is. You can see it has its antenna laying on top of its back. And those big palps stick out in front. I think that was a forest tent caterpillar that just came in and left right away. Here's our streaked orange again. Just take a little run up through all these insects to see. I'm looking at the screen like you are. Let's look at the diversity of insects that are here. It's a big fish fly that just flew up through the middle. That looks like a small, possibly a small crane fly. Nicely patterned micro moth in the genus Olathrodes, but I don't know what species. And that green bug that flew away was not a leaf hopper or plant hopper. I just don't remember what they're called now. Ravel, that was the Virginia tenucid moth. The one that had a bluish back and orange head, orange head, dark wings. Actually has a nice bluish abdomen as well. I think I can show you one. There's always one or two on the sheet. Where'd it go? Of course, there isn't one here right now. Here's a caddisfly, a larger species of caddisfly. This is one we saw a couple of nights ago with the nice white dots in the middle of the wing. Yeah, Ginger, actually you're right. Normally there are multiple Virginia tenucid moths here. There have been a few come and go tonight. We have this big hatch of midges that seems to be keeping a lot of the moths away. Very, very few leafhoppers, if any. Let's just take a look here. It's an interesting micro moth here. I can get it steadied. Got little black tails sticking off the end of the wings. Don't recognize that one. Just got pushed out of the way. An Asian lady beetle. Banded tussock moth. Okay, there was a pale beauty there for a moment, but already gone. There's a Virginia tenucid. Climbing the walls. There's a plume moth. These are interesting small moths in that I don't know why this doesn't want to focus on it, but they kind of roll up their wings when they perch. So all you see are these two little tubes sticking out on each side, which are their wings rolled up into a tube. Their long abdomen. They're called plume moths. This particular one, I think, is called the plain plume moth. Most of them have some nice markings on their wings, or the little of their wings that you can see. And here's something different. Not sure what this is. It's related to the clover hayworm moth that we saw earlier, the one that was sort of purple and yellow. This one is very closely related, maybe in the same genus, but I'm just not pulling up the name. But I'll certainly look that one up. And who's this? So overexposed. That one as well. To get any white moths on these black shingles, they get really overexposed. Oh, I see, I think I see maybe a sphinx moth. Yeah, what is this one? This is different. This is a new one for us, I think. Just hang on here. There we go. Yeah, this is a new sphinx moth for us. I think this one is the pawpaw sphinx. Apparently there's a plant called pawpaw, P-A-W, and I'm not sure if it's native, the pawpaw plant is native to New Brunswick, but that's what this species is supposed to feed on. And it's actually quite rare here in New Brunswick. I don't see it every year. Let me see if I could improve the light a bit. Just hang on. Wow. Pawpaw. That's it, Wolf. Ginger, your mother had these in Arkansas? Pawpaw? What a beauty. Let me, I'm going to have to move the lamp a little bit so I can get a better view of it. You don't believe you have pawpaw in Maine? Maybe it feeds on other things besides pawpaw. And Alyssa or Ginger or... Okay, never mind. It's going to fly away. When they start quivering their wings like that, that means they're about to fly away. I was just going to ask you to take a look at pawpaw sphinx to see if this looks right. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. All right. View of the underwing. Ginger says exact match to photo. Great. Nice. It's always nice to get a new sphinx moth, and I haven't really been counting, but we must be up to 8 or 9 species of sphinx moth since we started the stream. Here's a Putnam's looper that flew off. This one here is called, I don't know if we've looked at this one, I don't think so. This is called the bent-winged owlet. And it's bent-winged owlet, O-W-L-E-T. Looks like you should have pawpaw trees in Canada. So maybe that little fella knows a good tree around. Well, maybe we do. Maybe we just have another name for it here. Because I'm not... Pawpaw was a name I never heard in my life until I saw my first pawpaw sphinx. This is a plume moth. This one's got a nice pattern on it, and it's gone. No, didn't go too far. So these plume moths, okay, I think we're back. Ravel, you say you want to give up researching entomology? Hi, Ryan. Welcome aboard. You did some reading. Caterpillar of pawpaw sphinx feeds on pawpaw, and the adults will feed on flowers. Interesting. Well, maybe people plant pawpaw, so maybe it's become a common planted tree in people's yards. I'm sure you could ask 1,000 people around here what a pawpaw tree was, and people would look at you like you were from Mars. It was the Putnam's looper. Not sure what that one is. It's funny, there are none of the larger green leafhoppers we're starting to see. Don't recognize this one. I think it's in the genus Acrobasis. But I have to look that one up. Get a look at both sides. Yeah, it's an interesting pattern out near the tip of the wings. It doesn't ring any bells. Looks like a distinctive feature, but I don't remember seeing that. The long-snouted moth there is in the genus Donicala, and the smaller one behind it, the nice pattern, is a cochillid moth. I'm just not sure what species. It's in the genus Aethes, A-E-T-H-E-S. It's a difficult group. I think this is a spruce bud, excuse me, a spruce budworm. Oh, that was a wainscot. I think a lesser wainscot. It didn't stay. Here's a nice little micro moth if he'll sit still. It's called the yellow-headed something. Damn. It's gone. Darn. It's a real nice yellow and orange micro moth. So yeah, spruce budworm. Sorry, did I miss something? has information. Oh, that just made me do some research, and apparently similar to how we have catalpa trees that are known for catalpa worms, and they apparently turn into the catalpa sphinx moth. Yeah. We know so many moths are actually named for the caterpillars. I think I mentioned that one night before. So when you see a moth and you look it up, and it might say, well, an example would be a moth we've seen several times called the unicorn prominent. And you're thinking, well, it must have a nice horn sticking out of its head, but it doesn't. But the caterpillar does. Ooh, here's a nice moth. Ooh, I forget the name of this one, but it's a new one for us. What is this called? Darn. The first part of its common name is a is a lady's name, but I can't remember what it is now. All right, another one I'll have to look up. It's flown away. Oh no, it's right here. I'll torture myself some more here. It's really a very nice pattern. And it's an uncommon moth. I don't see it very often, maybe a couple of times a year. I'm just sort of running through all women's names, hoping something will ring a bell. Whoop. Green leuconicta. Way overexposed. Question. Do you study beetles? Well, I photograph beetles and I identify the ones that I photograph, but I'm very much a beginner in beetles. Like, I have been ignoring them a bit recently on the streams, but it's more because I don't know the names of most beetles. I sort of have an idea what families they're in, but not much more than that. I especially like longhorn beetles. Yeah, here's our pawpaw, or another one over here. Click beetles are another really interesting family, but they're difficult to identify the species, but there's some real unique ones. We had one a few nights ago that was huge and had long, I think they're called pectinate antennae. I believe there's only one species in North America that's that size with pectinate antennae, but I forget the name. But there are a lot of click beetles that have very nice patterns. Here's a pale beauty. It's a really nice moth. We have seen it a couple of times. Pale beauty. Ravel says, isn't that a black beetle? Excuse me. Well, it might have been black in color, but it's in the family Elateridae, which are called click beetles. And that's usually about as far as I can get. This here beetle would be, I think, in the family that are called May beetles. That includes what we call the June bug. tufted. Ravel, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, black beetle. There's no family of beetles called black beetles, and there are thousands of species of beetles that are black. So I'm not sure what you are thinking of when you say the words black beetle. Here's our Virginia tenucid moth again. Notice it's got a really narrow white fringe on the end of the wings. Another tufted bird-dropping moth up there. Yeah, let's say they all Virginia tenucids have a really pale white fringe on the end of their wings, although as they get older, sometimes that can wear off. But most of these are very fresh. There's another one flying around here. Here's I think that's a sharp-angled carpet moth. Great blue herring calling. Brother moth. Here's another one of these clear wing moths. I think this one is called the maple callus borer. Maple callus is C-A-L-L-U-S. Borer, B-O-R-E-R. Here's a yellow-shouldered slug moth that we saw 2 nights ago. There's a nice white stripe through the middle of the wings. Slug moths typically hold the end of their abdomen up in the air above their wings. So let's take a look from the side. And just barely clearing his wings is the tip of his abdomen. So this one's called yellow-shouldered slug moth. Virginia tenucid. I have one on my right eye right now. There's a larger moth bouncing around here. I think it's a sphinx moth of some kind. I don't know if it's going to settle down or not. Here's a Baltimore snout. Common Gluphisia. I'm hearing a large moth fluttering around on the ground somewhere. Do another check of the shingles over here. Brother moth. Virginia tenuted. You can see on this one the white tips on the wings is wearing away. This one is getting a bit worn too. I see a lot of the blue scales on the thorax are missing. Crane fly. How long do moths live? Well, it depends on the species. Some moths live only 2 or 3 days, just long enough to reproduce. Other moths can live for months. But probably on average, I would say 2 to 4 weeks would be an average lifespan for the majority of moths. There's a plume moth here on the top of this mugwort. Small rivulet. Green leuconecta. Here's the one on the right here is called common hypa, Hyppa. Very attractive moth. We have seen it a couple of times before. Common hypa. Hypa is the genus that it's in. One on the left is probably the pale marked angle moth. And this one. I don't know. I'm going to take a guess that this is bridled arches. Hi, Dan. Good to see you. Been missing in action. We do roll call here, you know, so hadn't seen you all day, or I'm not sure we saw you yesterday. Good to see you. Bridled arches, that's it, Alyssa. Sometimes when people come into the channel, I say, you know, gosh, I haven't seen you since 3 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. And then I think to myself, well, that's must sound kind of weird to people. Just think that as if I was taking notes on their attendance or something, but it's just the way my silly brain works. Here's this yellow-headed thingy that's got a beautiful, it's a micromoth with a beautiful pattern. And I just don't remember the name of it. It's yellow-headed something, and the something is the genus, and it's a really long, complicated name, and I never remember it. like epicolia or something like that. You're up in the city for a few days. Now, what city would that be for you living in Clovis? To go up to the city, I don't know. You mean you're up in Fresno for a few days? Or? Yellow-headed. Yeah, I think the epicolia is actually the name of this. It's sort of slowly coming back. Yellow-headed epicolia. Not sure how to spell that. Just that's good enough. Epicolia, epicolia. It ends on an A. Just can't seem to get the camera to focus on it properly. Anyway, it's very small. And we're just about out of time here, I notice. And I think we've covered most of the moths here. This is the one we saw earlier that's named after some lady, but I can't remember her name. And not sure. One last look over here. Oh, here's a new one. This is a chocolate prominent. Well, we actually did see one night, but we didn't see it very well. This is a large moth. Common name is chocolate prominent. Yeah, Wolf, that is a really neat one. It can be even richer chocolate than that. Alyssa, thanks. I wish I could give you a clue. But I just can't. What's this one here? Oh, that's the same one again. Alyssa, do you want to look at Diana? For the name Diana in that moth photographers group? You just go to Google and put in the word Diana, MPG, moth, those 3 words, Diana, MPG, moth, and see if it looks anything like this. There is a moth named Diana's something. I think actually we may have seen it on the stream, but I'm not sure. Diana's charutus. That's the one we've seen. Yeah, that's not it. Thank you anyway for looking. All right. That was a new one there. Thanks, everyone. We're well past midnight now. So I'll say good night. Put off my light here. Thanks very much for the great typing, Alyssa and Ginger. You guys are the best. Wolf, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Dan, glad you could make it. Chloe and JB, you have the best attendance record so far, apart from Melissa and Ginger. No, I really don't keep notes on attendance. I just kidding. Alrighty, we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Do hit the like button if you haven't already, please. Thanks.